Yeah, so there are a lot of car manufacturers involved in GT3. For the early access of the game, we have limited the number of cars just to make sure that we had, the same number of cars per category, or to have categories quite balanced, not to have too many cars in a specific category. So as you mentioned, GT3 will introduce in the game the endurance, so longer races, twice as long as the sprints. Costs become more important, requirements for more staff in your team as well. Let's move to the GT3 category, and let's have a look at what we have. Again, we start the category with the Audi. So this time it's the R8 GT car. So Audi has handed the support for that car this year. So again, we wanted to make sure that we could get that car before it disappears. It's still a very successful car in the category. So Audi has this version. This is the factory version.
Yes, and even though, as you said, Audi stopped the factory version, stopped their customer racing support, there are still teams racing with this car. Yes, not in the WEC, but in the 24-hour series championship, for example. So you will still have the possibility to have like private team liveries during early access.
Then we have the BMW M4. So the car was introduced also in 2022. It's a car also that is very famous in Europe. You have many private teams using the M4. So I'm sure we're going to get more variations of that M4. Anything else you wanted to add on the M4?
Yeah, so the livery is not here, but there will be a private team called Century Motorsports from the British GT coming also with two drivers. So yeah, follow us on social media so we can see the livery soon once it's implemented.
Next, we have the Ford Mustang. So this car was introduced this year, so it's one of the most recent GT car which has been introduced, and Ford has returned as officially in the series with that model. It's a car that is built and managed by Multimatic, which is a specialist of motorsports. And Ford used to work with companies like Multimatic and M Sports for the rally, for instance. Again, this car starts to be very popular. So you can expect multiple versions of this car later in the game. One of the very successful GT3 car, a lot of successes in that category. So the Mercedes-AMG GT3. This car was introduced. This was actually one of the early GT3. So it was introduced back in the year 2016. So again, probably we'll have multiple variations of the AMG, as there's a lot of teams running racing with the AMG in the GT3 category.
And the last one.
The last one is also a variation of the 911. This is the most recent model, so this is the model that was introduced actually last year. So this is the GT3R, beautiful car. Not so many private teams yet, but probably more to come.